I believe in the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. I believe in the God of Israel. I believe in one God. I believe that Christ was manifested in the flesh as one God. Like the old days which we painted last blood on their doorposts. I believe that Christ is my true man, and his blood has been painted upon me. I believe that the same God of Israel protects me from all evils and sickness of this world. And I'll do my best to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I believe that my Son died for my sins. I believe that he raised from the dead, and I believe that he will come again to judge the whole house of Israel. I believe that my God is great and has the earth. I believe in one God who is holy and righteous. I believe that God is my Father. There's only one God. There's only one God of Israel, and I'll give my whole soul, body, and spirit to the one God of Israel, for he is righteous and he is my Father. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Selah and Selah. Amen.
All right. Peace and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in this world. And welcome to another Saturday session with the Israelite Nations Worldwide Ministries. It is such an honor to be here again today. And as I mentioned last week, by the way, if you haven't seen last week's video, please make sure you do watch it because you'll probably find it very insightful. And also make sure that you share, you like, you comment, you subscribe. Put your questions in the comment sections because, we can do another session later on in the year, who knows? And, we will be able to address those as well. But once again, you're welcome and thank you for joining us. Once again, we have the wonderful Elder Sophie.
Peace.
And the lovely Miss Michelle.
Peace.
And we have the beautiful Miss Shawn.
Peace, everybody.
So welcome. So what I'm going to do this morning, this afternoon, this evening, won't give it away.
It's all right.
What I'm going to do is just do a little recap of what we did last week. So first of all, I just want to say all glory and honor to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob for granting us breath, clarity, and understanding. And today is all about clarity, order, and restoring truth, where confusion has settled. And we know that it has settled. This is Women in Spirituality, when culture meets covenant. As we've mentioned before, our culture is our spirituality, and our spirituality is our culture. So we take this very seriously. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to answer a series of questions, many that was sent last week and some that was sent previously. Last week, what did we do? We looked at some of the historical explanations as to why, and this is very important, as to why so many nations are fascinated with the Black feminine spiritual power, even while suppressing the Black woman in real life. Now, this is very important because in that we looked at the Black Madonnas, which is preserved across Europe. We even looked at the Pope kneeling before the Black Madonna and calling her, does anybody remember?
Mother.
My mother, that's right. My mother, my protector, the Queen of Poland. So that was really interesting. And he went to Poland all the time to kneel before the Black Madonna and give his reverence to her. We also looked at ancient nations creating goddess figures like Isis, Athena, Diana. And this is not out of their imagination, but as we said last week, it's not imagination, it's imitation. You have to have something to imitate.
Yep,
and what did they do? They imitated the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob's creation, right? Yet their image, their style, their energy, their aesthetic is dominant globally. We see it all over. It doesn't matter where we turn. We see the Black woman. We also honored women both historically and biblically who embodied strength, with order, not chaos. Women like Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
Remember Harriet Tubman?
Yes.
Katherine Johnson,
Mhm.
Queen Nzinga, which is my favorite.
We could tell.
Come on.
We could tell.
And many of the women in the scriptures, we really just glanced over many of the women in the scriptures. Hopefully today would have an opportunity to do a deep dive into some of them, because they really do embody what it truly means to be an Israelite woman. What we saw consistently was that Israelite women were never silenced, they weren't erased or passive. They were spiritually perceptive, culturally grounded, disciplined, and orderly. Their strength was not masculine, because we have a problem today actually trying to define what strength is. It was the Israelite feminine resilience. And we ended with a central truth that frames today's conversation. And what is that? Number one, culture without covenant becomes an empty tradition. Culture without the covenant, the agreement that we have with our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, becomes an empty tradition. We also understood that covenant without culture becomes theory. So it's all about blah, 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 and not practicing what you say you believe in. So it just becomes theoretical. But when culture meets covenant, the Israelite woman, I would say man as well, but the Israelite woman stands in clarity, authority, and peace.
I like that.
Say that again. That again.
Repeat it again.
Yes,
But
where's
when our culture, our practices, when that meets the covenants that our Father, the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob gave to us, the Israelite woman stands in clarity, authority, and peace. That is the foundation we are standing on as we move into today's question. But let me pause for one brief moment. Something is happening right now. Can anyone tell me? And this is historical. Can anyone tell me what's happening right now?
We're teaching.
Nothing? Okay, we're teaching. I mean, that's
Is
pretty
it?
cool. Okay.
Four strong Israelite women are sitting here today.
Something's happening right now.
And you're
Thank you guys.
You're living and standing in the
You didn't
clarity.
give us what
of this-
direction we're going.
Yes,
in. What direction is it? Politics?
it is
Is it
political.
what's happening in the church?
Okay.
Is it what happened with the women right
This
now?
is,
Like,
okay, this is so
what
this
is
is
it?
not a political statement, but
Okay.
it's an observation.
Okay.
Does anyone know?
Is it
It's not a political
Let's hear it.
statement, so that's steering you in the right way, but it is an observation.
That we have more women leaders in the world now, or maybe getting
Very close, very
Okay.
close, very, oh, this is so good.
That's
This is so very
politics.
good. Yes,
Yes.
this is very, very good.
politics. Okay, we're getting close to
Okay,
it.
so we're looking at the greatest country as we stand right now, today, in our generation. That is the United States of America. Remember, United States of America is the breadbasket of the entire world today, right?
Right.
The most powerful country. In 2026, in the most powerful country in the world, 7 Black women are running for the United States Senate.
Yes.
You didn't.
Yes.
You didn't know that.
Direction. You didn't.
I think that's political. I didn't say
This
political.
week.
Yes,
Okay, pretend to win. Okay.
that
Yes.
is off the hook.
Okay.
7 Black
Yes.
women are running for the United States Senate.
That number.
And
What's her
if
name?
one
Crockett.
of them wins,
Oh,
it
for
would mark
Texas?
the highest number of Black women serving in the Senate at the same time in American history.
Wow.
Isn't it? Look at this. We're talking about this, and look at what's happening. Do we lie? Do we lie? Is the proof not out there?
Yes.
My goodness, these women are running in different states under different circumstances, but all in the same moment, which is really something to take note of. We have in Texas, there's a Jasmine Crockett. I
Yes.
really don't know
Oh,
a
I
lot
know
of
her.
these, but yeah, she's
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
In Illinois, there's a Juliana Stratton and Robin Kelly.
Yes.
In Kentucky, there is a Pamela Stevenson. In Mississippi, there is a Priscilla Williams Till. I don't know if any of you know
No, I don't
the
know
story
that one.
about Emmett Till.
Oh.
She is related to
Oh.
Emmett Till. Yes. In
Mhm.
Oklahoma, there's Nicola Thomas. And in South Carolina, there's Katherine Bruce. Now, we're not staying here to, push everybody to go and support, or, we don't want to know what you think politically, but I'm sharing this because it reflects something we've been talking about all along. When there is stability, when there are gaps in leadership, when clarity is needed, women step forward.
That's right.
Yes. But could I say something about that point?
Yes.
That's a wonderful point. Could you just read the line that you just did again?
Okay, so when
clarity
there
is
is
needed.
instability,
Okay.
when there are gaps in leadership, when clarity is needed, women step forward.
Remember that as we go along. Remember just that sentence right there, because the question will always come up. We're not supposed to be teaching. But just remember, just put that with the sentence right there. And that is why when we're needed, we're called upon. It's not we're just standing here saying we are the head. We know who we are the neck type of thing. But it's when we're needed, we're called upon and we carried through. So we don't try to role reverse. We are women, and when we're needed, we step forth.
That is awesome. Awesome. So that's not new, as you mentioned. We've seen that in Deborah. We've seen that in Huldah.
Yes.
Okay. We've seen that in Abigail. We've seen that in so many of our Israelite mothers, that women's operating when order is required.
Yes.
And this is just going back to what you just said. This
Amen
is
to that.
required. So whether or not any of these women win, their presence reminds us that Black women stepping into responsibility is not an exception. It's just a continuation of what we've always done.
That's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
So now that's out of the way.
Let's get to the meat of it.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Let's do that.
So as I mentioned, we
Excited.
had a series of questions.
Yes.
And I flushed them out as much as possible, but we're going to do a round table to make sure that everybody gets their inputs and, we really
Yes.
develop our responses. And please, if you do have responses, we do have a mic here. You can type in the chat as well if you're out there and you want to join us, and hopefully somebody will be kind enough to read it to us. So let's begin with our first question.
Yes.
But before I do, does anyone want to say something first?
I'm excited. That's what I want to say. Can't wait to just jump in. I'm excited.
Yes, for me too. I wanted to look at the feminism
Yeah.
so much because when I looked at what is out there and what they describe as feminism, and I look at our historical presence, there is not much difference at all because we were always resilient. We always stood up. We were always leaders, and we were always called upon when required.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
When required.
Yes.
Yes. When required.
Yes. I just want to say that because I know there are feminists
Yes.
out there who will want to challenge the status quo and would want to challenge us as Israelite women. And there are those of you out there in Cyberland who will want to use Paul
Yes.
as a preface to,
Yes.
to determine your statement
Yes.
as to what we should do. And I know that somewhere along the line, you're going to bring up the point about us being silent and that we shouldn't speak.
I can't wait to get there.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to get there.
We're gonna get there. So everyone just join in.
Yes, it's
Lively discussion.
it's going to
Lively
be
discussion.
absolutely.
Questions.
Yeah,
Oh, so does
like
Andrew.
that has been the main thing, like, oh, that we shouldn't speak. That gets everybody riled up.
Yes.
We want to be able to say why we should speak, and how we should speak, right, when required. And we also, for me, when I was looking at all the different questions that came up, I got really excited.
Yeah.
Not just on that, but on the whole thing. I don't
Yes.
want to give anything away,
Yes.
but I'm excited to jump in and explore a little more with my sisters here.
Okay. Now the first one ties into almost one of the questions we had last week, and we are going to dive into that one a little bit more as well. But the first one is question 1: is synthetic hair acceptable since it doesn't carry another person's DNA, energy, or spirit. So remember last week we mentioned that human hair carries DNA. It carries trauma, drama, and everything in between. You know, there's a reason why people cut it off. Most people were sick. Most people were impoverished. Whatever the case is, they cut off their hair. So all that negativity is in their hair and they donate it to their temple that is dedicated to their God. And then we understand that these strands of hair carries DNA, and you are going to take that. I don't care how many washing it was washed. You're going to put that into your head. Explain to me why we are suffering today. Anyways, so now somebody's asking about synthetic hair. What say ye?
For me, what I say, I mean, it's a very interesting topic to kind of delve into because, again, we don't really know the reason why that person is wearing synthetic hair. At least they're knowledgeable enough to know, hey, not doing the human hair, I'm wearing synthetic hair. It's okay, right? But I also wanted just to take a moment and kind of refresh to what we talked about last week, which was about knowing yourself and the power that you have, right? And the first step in gaining any real power really is knowing yourself, right? So why? Why are you wearing synthetic hair? It's one thing to wear hair that looks like ours. You know, everyone wears hair pieces, right? That's a thing.
That's my thing. Anyways,
Yeah.
keep going. Keep going.
Oh, everyone wears hair pieces. But why wear the straight hair? Why wear hair that is not of you, right? It's almost as if you're saying that uh, I would look into yourself. Think about why you're doing it because it's very touchy subject. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you're trying to relate to people who you feel has more power than you, has more strength than you? Are you trying to fit in, catch those crumbs where you can? Or are you doing it for some other reason that you may have anybody have personal reason? And if it is the latter, right? Or the former? If it is the reason that I spoke of whereas the other person has more power, then questions, is this something that you want to continue to do? Maybe you should learn about your own power. Maybe you should learn about your own hair and embrace that. Just because it's synthetic doesn't mean it symbolizes something, right?
I love that. Thank you.
So
That's very interesting.
to that a little bit.
Yes, please.
You have to look at the history of hair and how the Black woman was deemed with her hair and the jealousy that existed because of her hair and the fact that they could not do with their hair what the Black woman could do with her hair. Right? So, because they couldn't do what the Black woman could do with her hair, then I firmly believe that a seed was planted historically to devise a plan to say, deconstruct what your hair should look like, and it should look like my greasy flat hair. Right? But, pardon me, right? So, the Black woman was then cultured to think that her hair is not beautiful and that her hair is ugly. But when the truth is that our hair, it goes up. It goes up towards the clouds, towards the sky, towards the light. That's how our hair goes up. It goes up. The others, their hair goes down towards the ground, the earth, death, and everything, right? So are we choosing light or are we choosing what's beneath? So you have to understand that when they painted that picture about your hair, our ancestors bought into it, right? And then begin to do things to try to emulate what they look like. And on top of that, they pressured the Black woman. If you want to work where I work, you got to look like me. So therefore, your hair is not acceptable. We don't need that big fro on our camera. You got to sleek it down. So succumbing to pressure through the years and acceptance and wanting to have the resilience to provide for family to complement what the husband brought in and etc and stuff like that, then the woman started to change, the Black woman started to change her hair in order to get the acceptance so that they can get a job, they can feel like they are worthy of something and that they can belong in the society, when the opposite is actually it's not so. So that's the history that there is
I
with the
love that.
hairs.
I like that perspective. Absolutely. I love the standing up. I think hit the nail on the head. I love that bit.
Wow, there's a lot that came with that one. Okay, so for me, my mind goes back culture. So when it comes to the hair and the natural hair, there is one thing I think a lot of us know growing up is don't put anyone's comb in your hair. Like don't comb with anybody else's comb.
That's right.
Don't put your foot into anyone else's shoes.
Yeah, right.
And also, when it comes to the hair, you got to be like very careful where you leave your hair.
Yes.
So I think the natural hair, understandable that you don't take anyone else's hair and put it on your head. For me, when it comes to synthetic, I think, and this is personal again, I think it depends because there's protective styles. There's things that we use it for. I mean, you could find, as you said before too, hair that as close to your own hair as possible. And for us as women, I think the hair is a bigger issue than just wearing the human hair because I go back also to slavery. And when we did have our natural hair, we were different. And the other side took offense to that. So that's how we started also covering our hair with even the head ties. Because in our natural form, if even when we had the afro or the whatever styles, we could do styles with our natural hair. Back in the slavery days, they used to have issues with that. Because when we walk, everybody will be noticing us. When we walk, oh my gosh, like we come with royalty. Like when you look at the Black women, even us, we stand there and we're like, oh my gosh, stunning, beautiful. And that is in her natural state. So when you're back in slavery, in your natural state, there is going to be an issue. So the issue first was, oh, no. They can't even wear their natural hair. So what could they do? We get the head wraps. That's how it came in. Yes. So we were forced now to cover our natural hair.
Yes.
So the head wrap came in. But then when the head wrap came in, it was again, oh my gosh, because then we know how to tie the head wraps. We know another issue. So now what can we do? We just have to rip away their legacy. So now it's the fake hair. Now it's the long and wavy and it is more to look like them, but it's also to take away your own power. So it is not just here. There's a reason why our grandparents tell us not to do certain things. There's a reason for it because you don't want to take on somebody else's problems.
That's right.
That's what it is. Don't take on someone else's problems because we're not facing our own problems looking in the mirror when it comes to our natural state. We also cover our own issues. We have our own issues, but we also take on issues. So there's a lot that goes in with the hair, but I don't think it's just the natural hair. It's the crown. It's everything that we're giving up. It starts with the head. Everything spiritually, physically, we're giving up our power. Period.
I want to.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
As you guys are speaking, and they're writing little notes here because I don't want to forget. When you talked about history, and you talked about how we were again shamed into covering our hairs.
Yes.
I love the fact that we took the head tie and it made it an accessory to our crown with it. It's like, oh, we want to hide? Okay. We're going to make it, we still made it beautiful. But I thought about the 60s and the 70s. This is my mom angle because, mom. And I was reading a book to my children called I Like My Hair. And basically talks about all the different things that you can do with your hair and why you love your hair. And it talks about the 60s and how they had the Afro movement and like what happened to that whole movement, why it was so powerful with that fro. Like everyone thinks about, oh, that fro. It's because it was going back to their own power and they used their hair as a symbol of that power. Think about that. Nothing is just anything. And your hair isn't just hair.
Those were excellent. Excellent points. Excellent points. There is just a few things I want to throw in there as well, because we understand. It's synthetic hair. It's not unlawful.
It's not.
But as you mentioned, we do want protective style. Sometimes we cry out for it, which is understandable. But one thing that you've noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, and this is actually the key.
Oh.
This is the key. Do you know that other nations, they also wear hair pieces?
Oh, yes. They did it first.
Nobody says anything. Why does no one say anything?
You can't tell.
Because you can't tell. Yeah, they are volumizing their long hair, their auburn or brunette or whatever. They all wear hair pieces. I know a lady who actually started doing girls from India. She started doing their hair, attaching pieces. They all wear hair pieces, but they wear their own style.
Yep.
They wear hair that is indicative to their own culture. And what do? We go and wear styles that's indicative to their culture
Yep.
and their style.
Yes.
Right.
Because we give up everything.
Right. But now I've seen out there, you know, if we wore our own, nobody would question you. If you wore some like kinks in your hair and you went out there, everyone would be like, oh my gosh, you look so pretty. Oh, it's so nice. And it is, it's beautiful. Why? Because our features are large. You know, we've got broad nose, we've got big lips, and they're beautiful. And our hair
It's also big.
complements that,
Yeah.
right? Our hair complements our big eyes and, you know, our face, our hair complements
eyes.
how we look. So it's like when you slick it down, there's a mismatch. But you go out there, everybody's going to say, oh my gosh, you look so cute. Where you going? Anyway, so we do have a question. So
Question online, Felicia is asking, if it's already not one of your questions, how do you dispose of hair as it sheds or in combs and in brushes?
Oh.
very, very good question. Very, very good.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay. So it wasn't, we don't actually have it. It is a very important point because we do have to be mindful, especially if our own hair, because remember, your hair is an attachment, it's part of your spirituality, right? Your hair is an extension of your spirituality, your nails and your teeth, right? They're all part of that. You know, one of the things I do, I mean, I can talk about personally, when I, you know, if I'm combing my children's hair or anybody's hair around me, you know, I'll take up the small pieces and I'll throw them into the toilet and I flush. I flush. I clean the brushes, make sure that there's no pieces left in the brushes, put them in the toilet and flush again. You know, but if there's a larger volume of hair, you may need to
Yes.
pay attention to that.
It's true. Back home, because we didn't have, you know, the flushing system. But back home, they used to take out I grew up with my grandmother. So she'd take out all the hair out of all the combs. She would wrap it up. She would keep it. She would either put it in her pocket or put it somewhere in her room. And then when we go down to the river, it goes. So she didn't just, it was something that she does all the time because, you know, we didn't comb our own hair. So we sat, they took the hair out, she would keep it. And then when we go down to the river, that's how she disposes of it. But I just want you, also you guys to know something, just that when I say it's not just hair, what we are and who we are is so powerful that a bill had to be passed in the Senate regarding our hair. Like, if you think about that, a bill had to be passed regarding your hair. How do you dress how do we wear our hair to school? How do we wear it to work? Because it was a no-no.
Yeah.
Even our natural hair, we couldn't go out in public with it. Even now in 2025, now it's going into 2026, but this was just passed, I think, at the end of 2024, that we could now wear our natural hair in its natural state. That is big. Just saying.
I also just wanted to add something because, you know, we were just speaking about this earlier and you know why. In a court of law in the UK, did you know that they used to wear wigs?
Yes.
Yeah,
The courts.
Yes.
This is where you pass judgment.
you still do.
Who are they mocking? Who are they trying to mimic?
Us.
Right? When you think about it, the hair that they wear is not
Curly.
goat's hair, right? It's not the straight,
No,
It was
right?
curly,
It's not.
it's the
It's
curly.
curly, coily.
crunchy and
Yeah.
curly. It looks like wool. It
Wool.
looks like they all look like sheep, right?
Yes,
The sheep
it's
on their
wool.
head. Every one of them, right? So look at that. The court of law in the UK and many of the countries that they colonized did the same fashion, did the same thing. Isn't that remarkable? Does that not tell you how important your hair is? That people in the highest of high places wanted your hair, but you're going to find somebody else's. The poor girl in Bangladesh. Anyways.
But the hair, it's woolly
But
hair.
remember-
It's woolly. It's mocking the woolly hair.
Yes.
They put it to King Solomon and judgment.
Yes.
And it's our fathers here when they read in the scriptures. hair white like wool. So what do? They go and they put the woolly hair on
That's where they get it from.
and they tell you to cover your hair. Okay, and to straighten it.
But you see, it goes back. It goes back to even when we started last week, speaking about the power of the woman, right? And we spoke about the Black Madonna and all these historical women and how they suppress us, but behind closed door, they're worshiping the Black woman. I made a comment last week where I said everybody wants to be Black without being Black. So how is it in this court of law you hate me so much that your hair you put on fake hair to look like me?
That's
It means that you want the power that I have, but because you can't have the power that I have, you can only mimic it. But at the same time, you want to destroy me. But then trying to destroy me, you end up destroying yourself because your blessings comes from me. I build the buildings that you are
Yes.
living in, right? So because of me, you are blessed because you ain't building those buildings. You ain't doing anything. So if you don't have me to try to destroy, then you become powerless. You only have power because of us.
Yes.
It is a fact. That's why you try to look like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a cool, and this was so very good.
Here's a hot topic.
That's a hot
Here's
topic.
a hot topic.
Yeah.
Yes. Next
Do you dispose it? Anyone else dispose of their hair differently?
Yes.
Or by fire? Yes.
You
Or
would
they throw it in the fire?
yes, if
Yes.
you light a match and
Just
just
throw it.
burn the hair,
Yes.
hold the hair and take it out the comb and burn
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yes, burn the hair. Yes.
So different ways.
Absolutely. Anything else? We're
No.
good with that? Are we
Felicia
good?
is good?
Yes.
Are we good why we do not wear synthetic hair and how to dispose of our own hair?
No.
Yes.
Real hair.
Real
We
hair.
could wear synthetic.
We can wear synthetic.
Well, why we don't work for
Yeah, why we don't? We don't. We're not
Anyways.
quoting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the next question is really going back to last week. If we want to continue on speaking to some of those points, and what is the spiritual concern with wearing human hair? So this is another question that came up. So what is the spiritual concern about wearing? I mean, we spoke about many of the points last week, but I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, I was kind of going back to what I said earlier about the synthetic hair, but I feel like when you're wearing human hair, it is spiritually suffocating, right? It's also almost as though you are, because your hair is your crown, right? It says that in Corinthians. Your hair, it is your crown. We mentioned to him many times in this discussion. And so it's almost as if you, and for 400 years, they try to convince us, try to convince you that you are lesser than. And in wearing human hair, the way I look at it is, it's almost as if you're taking their crown and putting it upon your head, saying, I was like, you agree with them that they themselves are better than us. And not only is it and also it also is spiritually suffocating because your hair, everything that we spoke to with the DNA and the spiritual references and how hair isn't just hair, even throughout our cultures and our histories, how we've treated hair in the past. All right.
Yeah, thank you. No,
Good.
absolutely. I like that, spiritually suffocating. That's why I was writing it down. It's like, yeah, I like that because you are suppressing yourself spiritually. I mean, I don't know how many ways we can actually put it out there, but human hair, I mean, this is something we learned right here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. None of our women would put human hair in their heads. And especially you're coming to worship the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. No, you're contaminated. You've got to remove that. This is not what we
Can
do.
I add something onto that as well?
Yes.
Because we did speak about this already, right? And the spiritual piece is really, really important because we spoke about the fact that it carries the DNA, but also remember that your spirituality is not their spirituality. You don't know who or what they worship. So if you take their hair and they are dealing with a lot of spiritism, a lot of necromancy, a lot of things
Thickness.
that are not the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. So once again, as you're saying there, Rachel, you're contaminating your spirit. You're pulling spirits onto yourself. You're pulling spirits that are going to fight against the spirit of God that you have within you. And then you find that there is a lot of confusion in your life. I have seen a video, I don't know how really true it is, of women who wear the hairs of other nation, where they get into these what we call spirits because of the fact that they had the hair on their head. And we have to remember too that 2/3 of the angels, there was fallen angels, right? They came down. They're living in this earth, right? They came. You don't know where they are, what they do. You don't know who they're living with. So why would you want to pull those things through your head? Because remember, there are many compartments in your brain. You don't want that seeping into and then seeping into your thoughts, your deeds, your words, your action, how you treat your neighbor, how you treat your brethren, how you treat your children. You don't want that coming in. So that human here, you have to be cognizant of what it is that you're doing, what you're buying, because you don't want that spirit within you, living within you at all. So think on that factor alone, if to help you to discern whether you should buy it or not, but you shouldn't buy it. That's my take with that.
I think also, I mean, we could, and again, this is a topic that we speak about all the time. Bottom line is, the generation, the young generation, they don't care about any of this.
No.
What we're sitting down here talking about is Israelite culture.
Yeah.
So this is about their Israelite women, our
Yeah.
Israelite girls, because they're easily influenced by the outside world.
Yes.
There is no hair that you put on our head that is made from us. And plus, the human hair is not just human hair, it's animal hair you're putting on your head too. It's not all just human hair. So even for the young generation, doesn't matter how many times we could go over this topic, that is the generation we need to that needs to understand the true meaning of the human hair, like what it does. You can't progress in life. You really cannot progress putting that hair on your head all the time. There's so many things now we see with the women that before we could have said, oh, a Black woman wouldn't do that, a Black girl wouldn't do that. Now it changes. There's nothing it's a Black thing. There's nothing like that anymore. It's right now we have become somebody else.
Yep.
Everything that we have given up. Everything down to our hair, we have given up. And where they're gaining, because their hair is now starting to be braided like our hair.
Yes.
Their hair is now starting to look like our hair.
Yep.
What are we doing? It's a role reversal.
Yes.
Where we were the head, we are really now truly the tail when it comes to the Black women.
And here's this.
So we have another question here.
Yes, another question from the chat from C. Calhoun. If you were able to, could you further explain the meaning of our crown at this point?
You can go to Corinthians and answer that one.
Go ahead, babe.
Okay, so the meaning of our crown.
Right.
Let's look at 1 Corinthians 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, when you're talking about our crown. And when you have time, and to my brethren, the Calhouns, you begin from verse 1, because you always have to set the stage when you ask a question to look at the beginning to get the answer. But as we move across the verses and come over to where it talks about the woman and her hair, the man, first of all, shouldn't have his hair covered when here, that's one thing. But it talks about the woman and what her hair is, and it tells you here that in verse 15 that if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for it is her crown, for her hair is given to her as a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. We look at this, the woman's hair is given as a crown. What is the meaning of the word crown? We look at a crown. If you look at even modern language and look at the meaning of the word crown, crown is something that catches your eye. It catches your eye. There is many gems and stones and whatever in a crown. So the woman's hair that was created, that wool, it is her crown. And the God of Israel put that there so that we look beautiful. Because remember up here in verse like 7, 8, 9, it talks about that the man is not the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. How did God create the woman? He created the woman for the man. So she is a crowning glory unto the man. She is the beauty unto the man. The woman came up from the man. No, we don't want to get it twisted that men, because we know that men cannot have babies, right? But the woman was created from the man,
Today's age is different.
right?
Right?
From Adam, Adam was put to sleep. The woman came forth therefore after, and she was the crowning glory, the thing that would magnify the man, that would, they say that behind every strong man, behind every man there is a strong black woman. This is what that means. So that crown on her head, that's the glory that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob gave to her for her to look beautiful and behold into the man's eyes. That's beauty.
I have to say though, there's just one point to that as well. You mentioned it actually earlier. Our hair stands up, but when you look at it, an afro looks like a crown.
It does.
Right?
It does.
It's a crown. That's exactly what it looks like. It crowns your head. It glorifies your head. So.
And I wanted to say also with that,
Oh.
in Corinthians 11, how it says, but if a woman have long hair, it is glory to her. And glory, right? And the crown. When a king wears a crown, what does it do? It symbolizes him as the king, right?
Right.
It is his glory. It's a symbol of his glory, of his power, of his, of his strength, right? So glory to us, our hair is that symbol.
Thank you.
Yes, and just to go off of all of y'all points, first off, I love the lesson. I love the talking points. When we're talking about the crown, I think it's such a beautiful thing. I think melanated people and our features and our characteristics, it's so beautiful, and it's like a foundational thing as far as identifying who the children of God are. And when they speak about the Christ or Jesus, the flesh, the man, when they spoke about him, they said he had hair like wool, his feet was burnt like brass. Like, these are identifiers. And he came unto his own, and they received him not. But when he was to come again, or if he was to come again, right? He's going to be looking for the same identification factors, like the hair like wool. Like, we're talking about the crown. And I think of a crown, and you walk in and somebody's wearing a crown. He doesn't have to tell me, okay, the crown, I'm the king. Like,
Yes.
the crown,
The crown.
exactly. The crown kind
Exactly.
of gives you the
Gives it-
precedent as far as who I am, what I represent, and my ambassador to something. It sets it's an identifier. So you guys are absolutely right as far as that. I think the hair is beautiful. I know y'all hair is covered, but I know y'all got beautiful hair up there.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I just wanted to add that point.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
And another point too after that is that the crown equals your bloodline.
Yes.
Hmm.
Good point.
It does. It
Yeah.
equals your bloodline. And
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. That's what we're just giving up. We're giving up our bloodline. That is it. I mean, for me, it's emotional because it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing right now, where it's predominantly all our young Black women, young Black girls, all the hair they're wearing it's somebody else's natural hair. It's not even their own natural hair. So it's like a pandemic for us. But because they're giving up everything, they've become like every other nation. Our young girls have become like every other nation because, again, this is what they've given up, is their crown. That's exactly what it is. It's what you're giving up. It's your birthright. Your crown is your birthright, and that's what we're continuing to give up right now. It's everybody else is doing it, but we're not. We're okay with wearing somebody else's hair. I'm telling you, it's something that we really have to look at, and our young girls within the nation have to really understand what it is. We have it right now, and it doesn't matter what you say and how you say it, and you could tell them 20 million times. It's the same thing that's happening over and over and over. It's society rules, social media rules. Your own in-home culture doesn't rule anymore. It's everything on the outside. So that's why anytime you see, even for us, our young women that's doing anything, you do really have to stop them in the track and say, no, not my daughter, not your daughter. Once they're under the umbrella of the Israelite nation, I think these are things that we as a family have to start doing. We have to take care of each other and each other's children. And when we do see this, we have to stop it, and we have to let them know why. Because right now it's taking over.
One more question on this subject.
Yeah.
This subject? Okay, please go ahead.
Do you think that synthetic hair would be an issue as well? Wearing the synthetic, wouldn't that cover your your antenna. You're wearing it because you're bald,
Okay.
right? You don't have hair that you can just show off. You're pretty much bald. So you're wearing the synthetic hair so you look okay, right? But wouldn't that interfere with what your natural hair would do? Because that's even a part of the curse where you instead of nice flowing hair, you got bald spot because of whatever we did wrong in the past.
Good question.
So
It's a very good question. And for me, it goes back to the point that, wearing synthetic hair is not, it's not against the law.
okay.
For us, human hair is against the law. It's
Yeah,
against our law.
that's it.
We don't do that. Synthetic hair, I mean, it's a covering, right? Covering, a hat is a covering, right? A scarf is a covering.
Yeah.
Good point.
So,
That's what when it comes back to what I was talking about earlier with the synthetic, like I don't know why you're wearing that synthetic hair, right? Because everyone has their reasons relative
Right.
to them. It's what type of synthetic hair are you wearing? What I guess
That's
people are you
a very good
representing?
point. That's a very good point as well, because there have been studies, and I don't know the details of it, but there have been studies that a lot of these synthetic hair, a lot of them are made with chemicals and garbage and what have you, that can actually harm you. It can, cause reproductive uterus cancer, all these different things. And I don't know to what degree what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Maybe something if you wore like maybe once in a while,
Go back to head
And it is
coverings.
hard. It is hard
Yes,
because
it
I know
is
my
hard.
mom when she well, I don't know. I when I was like to continue talking with this example, but I went to the store to get this person a wig, right? And I couldn't find hair that looked like our hair. It was so hard. I had to settle for like a Creole type curly hair, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. Like, because it's not regular.
It's not- you don't find your own hair. You find somebody else's hair. You even need synthetic.
but yeah.
Hard to emulate us.
That's
Yeah.
why I say it's a sensitive
So-
topic, right? So I can't really speak to why you're doing it, right? The struggles are.
Another point?
Yeah.
Question.
Someone wants you to explain why we wear a head tie when we're here.
Oh,
Yeah, you could do that.
okay.
This is going forever. I'm just one person.
I'm going to find this scripture. Okay, so first of all, we understand that a woman teaching must have her head covered. Right? We take away from the vanity, from everything else, and we focus on what's being taught. Right? So we cover our heads for that very reason. Okay. In addition to that, it speaks in the scriptures that when you go into the house of God, when you go into right. Okay, yes. So when
The
when you
woman
go
that
into the
prayed.
church, you have to have your hair covered as well because you're.
You want me to read it?
You want to read?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
11
Right.
verse 5.
11 verse 5. But every woman that
Where are we reading from?
oh sorry.
1 Corinthians 11.
1 Corinthians 11 verse 5. It says, "But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. If the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered."
So basically,
the answer
if
to
you're
your
going
question.
in, yes, it
That
would
answers
be
the
like
point.
you're bald.
Yes, wear
So-
head coverings. Yes.
That answers the question. Okay. Next question.
Okay, so we're going to go into our next question. Sorry.
Yeah, we're teaching, we're
Yeah.
praying and prophesieth.
Here.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked if it's at home. No, it's here. When you're in the house of God, you're teaching, you're prophesying, you're praying. You cover your head. Okay. Question number 3. Our question number 3. What does true femininity and spirituality look like for an Israelite woman? Who wants to take that first?
Okay, first of all, we have to examine what is femininity. Femininity, did I pronounce it? It's a tongue twister.
Mm.
What is it? And we will have to look at two sides to that: the traditional construct of what feminism is and the modern construct. So femininity is more or less a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles that are associated with women. And some of these roles that were associated with women include being gentle, empathetic, sensitive, nurturing, emotional, having emotional expression. We were graceful, charming, but it also has weakness and passivity in it. And I'll speak to that in a while. And then when you look at the modern construct of feminism, they now added resilience, assertiveness, goal oriented, confidence, right? Which for me, I look at it and I'm like, no, you don't know who my ancestors were. We were all of that and even more. Because when last week when we touched on Huldah, we touched on Deborah,
Yes.
Mrs. Manoah, when she was preparing to have Samson. And she followed instructions. She was goal oriented because she was going to bring forth a Nazarite.
Yes.
And she's going to have to do what the instructions and raise this child as a Nazarite. So she was goal oriented. How is that a modern construct? That happened even before my time, your time, and our grandparents' time.
Yes.
So society is trying to divide what feminism is today than what it was yesterday. But I think what they're trying to allude to is the fact that the woman today, they have erased the man from the household, right? And they have tried to use the woman as the breadwinner, the provider, the nurturer, the disciplinarian. And I don't need you, man, because I can do all this by myself. I can be bad all by myself. I don't need you, right? So that is the construct that they're trying to infiltrate. And if we look at even the movies that are out there, the women are now becoming the, what you may call it, the victors, the one that, and if you, they are really, before in a movie, the woman was always scream, ah, you know what I mean, and run away. Now this woman is very athletic. She's muscular. She's masculine.
Yes.
She's like,
Skinny little models and they're so strong.
they don't you don't even want to say heroine, because remember, heroine is the feminine of the word of the word hero. They're not saying the heroine of the movie, the protagonist of the movie, right? That's how she's being portrayed. She's now winning in the end of the movie as opposed to being decimated. She's winning, and she's the one with the gun, the sword, the everything. Those we call them karate moves. She has it all. That is the modern translation of what feminism looked like. But if we go back to the Bible had all of that,
Yes.
the whole thing. And when you look at these stories in the Bible, you will see it. It's just that they don't want to accept it, that these things happen, because like they say, oh, I'm supposed to be quiet. I'm supposed to sit one side. I'm supposed to shut up. But as we mentioned earlier, we are called upon to do what we're supposed to do when the God of Israel wants it. And if you notice too, throughout our history here, when we talk about some of these queens of our history, that the God of Israel said messages directly to them. And you notice that they didn't use their husbands to tell them the message.
So we spoke about philosophy.
Why the God of Israel never went to the husband and said, tell your wife to do something? Because of who we are, how we were constructed. We were goal oriented. Yes, we may be passive, but we ask questions. And we would probably question the husband and said, who told you that? Where did you hear that from? I don't believe you. But because we're also in tune with the spirit ourselves, we have our own direct connection with the God of Israel. When the message comes through the prophets, we listen, we hear, and we respond to those messages. That's how I see our feminine role with us as Israelite women. Compared from then even to now, we are still the same. They are dividing it, but we are still the same.
I want to just add into that too, not to hide or to dumb it. We are powerful.
We are.
We can do so much, and it has been easy to use us to historically to take the man out of the household, especially when it comes to our let's say black, our our Black households, where the men feels like, oh, they don't need me. Oh, they're fine. Oh, they're okay, because the role of the man has been erased. Because we are powerful, but we forget that we were called to be the helpmate. And what is the helpmate? You need help? Come call me. You need a structure? Come call me. You need some compassion? Come call. You want some emotion? Come late. Come late. That's what the woman does. You need some strength? Borrow mine. It's not to take over, but to help lift up our husbands, help lift up our nations, and call and do when we are needed and required to call and do.
Yes.
You can go.
You want to go?
Yes.
You-
The reading. Oh, yes. I jump in at that.
Okay, so for me, just right off the bat, because I'm gonna go. I'm not going to give too much of an answer because the scripture
Yes.
actually says it.
Yeah.
But for me today, what's happening is that there are two extremes. When you have feminism
Yep.
and femininity, they are two extremes of the same ruler.
Yep.
Right? You have at one end whereby there is a lot of masculine traits, and to the point whereby I don't need a man. It's like it's gotten that ridiculous. So everybody's out there. Yes, you'll find the little 5'2" woman, and she does everything. She's taking everybody apart, and it's just crazy. That is insane. And then you have the other end where it's the soft life. And you don't have to wake up until midday and you get your nails done and you go and make some matcha. And, it's like, okay, this is insane. With it. Israel teaches balance.
Yep.
Yes.
Balance is the key. It's not about conquering the world by yourself, as you mentioned. You are a helpmate. It means that you don't have to do everything by yourself.
Yep.
Right? It means that you can take time out when you need to. Right? And then there's the other end, as I mentioned before. It does mean that you got to be lazy, no ambition, and just like in the bed all the time. And, it's like, oh my goodness. No, there's a balance. And that's, it's so funny because I just want to give this quick story. There's a time when I was like looking at the whole femininity side. But what that was is because I'm tired, I'm burnt out, and we don't understand. And this is what, sometimes when you're given that hero mentality, that strength, oh, you're a black one, oh, you're so strong, you can carry the world on your shoulder. That's tiring.
Yes.
That is tiring.
Takes a lot out of you.
Sometimes I sit back and say, no, I don't want to be the strong black woman. I want to be held. I want to be, spoken to nicely. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can go out there and no, I can do it, but I don't want to. I want to lie down. I want to sleep. I want to do that.
Yeah.
When I'm aching, when my body's hurting me and I'm cramping up, I don't want to go to work. I'm not going to get 100% attendance at work because I'm going to stay home and I'm going to get my hot water bottle and I'm going to hold it and I'm going to eat chocolate and I'm going to do nothing.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do. Good. Okay. I'm so very good.
This is
So it's about balance and we see it so many times, but I think there is
there's a
nothing.
question first.
Sorry, absolutely.
I'll say something.
Peace, family.
Peace.
Sometimes because us as Black women have to be strong,
Yes.
it sometimes has caused us to be left alone because, for example, you are now a mother, that maternal instinct kicks in. You realize that your partner is just insufficient. And because you are you have this inept strength and you're going to do what you need to do, sometimes that strength that you have is what causes one to be doing everything on their own.
Yep.
Because we all know, unfortunately, you know the Black man might be facing so much oppression and marginalization and everything that they're dealing with, and you, because you have to step up to the plate, you are now, that strength that you have
has backfired to the point where you have to do what you have to do. So it really ties into sometimes that you don't want to be alone, but because you have to do what you have to do, and because they know you can do it, it's prevalent. There's many of us doing it alone because we can do it and we step up to the plate and we do it. And unfortunately, it has become a norm, right? But our elder has taught us. And what we have to continue to spread the word is, especially when we have children with these men, we have to teach these men that this is not my child, it's your child, right? You gave me this seed to plant and I brought your fruit forward. And unfortunately, some of them don't have that knowledge, right? So we have to be that strong, resilient person and do what we have to do. And we do it so well that it has become the norm. But it does tie into the fact that sometimes we do want to just be cared for and just be soft and just be, but unfortunately, because us as Black women are so strong and resilient, many of us are on this walk doing it on our own, again because of the strength that we have, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. So for myself, because I'm all okay, so for myself, I'm always asked, okay, what kind of woman are you? And for me, my favorite scripture is always, the book of Ruth. I love that story. I love everything about it because there is so much culture in it. But I also believe that both male and female forgot what their role is.
Yes,
I really believe that. And for me,
That's where I was going to.
in the Israelite nation, I think that's what we have to understand. Like I said last week, is majority of the families that has left is the women. Take them out. So when the God of Israel is saying it's for us to build, not to pluck down, we seem to be plucking down instead of building. So first we have to understand what the building part of it. And yes, we are going to read on Proverbs 31 because it does teach us how to build. But I think that's what it is, because I think for a woman is if you understand your role, and we also want to be protected. And if you go into the scriptures, into the Sarahs, the Deborahs, that everything is about we come out at a certain time. If you come and visit, like back in the day of Sarah, you come out and visit, it's her husband has to send someone to call her. You don't see them at the forefront at all time. They understand their role. They understand if they're married to, let's just say, someone of a man of substance, of royalty, they understand what their role is. And the role was never to bring down. Everybody believes submissive is this meek and humble. And it means when the husband is at the forefront, you're at the back building. You're building, you're making sure the home is okay. And I'm not just talking, okay, well, you're cooking. No, not that. You're building, you're making sure that his root is firmly planted in the Israelite nation. If you don't see him, then you would see the spouse, you would see the wife. But it's this thing that we have, which is, oh, well, we don't need a man. It's not that we don't need a man. Understand who you are. Understand your role. And I think that's what we need to jump into, is understanding the role of a woman, understanding the role of a man, because when we look at it, if we each understand our role, then we enhance each other. Right now, we are pulling down each other, because every time you do a topic, it's what about the man? And then the woman will say, what about the women? Then we're not being taken care of. Why do we still have this? Scripturally, it was never that. Scripturally, they understood, which is, hey, if you want my daughter, you got to work for my daughter. But it wasn't saying to work for my daughter. You already have it in your mind that she's going to be taken care of. That is what I think for us we're missing right now, is the taking care of part, because not just from the 400 years of slavery, but even from Egypt, the man was removed. So the family structure was removed. And because the family structure was removed, how do we raise a family? We don't know. So we became the husband, we became the wife, we became the daughter, we became the cook, we became all these things. So right now it's just confusion.
And I think, McKinney, you raise a very important point, and it's something that I think sometimes it is to our own detriment, because yes, we are thrown into situations whereby we have to assume all the roles.
Yes.
You mentioned Elder Sophie. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I really think what Elder Sophie said is true. You really do need to understand what your role is, so that you are not just running on empty continually, so that when help is offered, or if there is a community around, then you use your community, because our parents, they never grew up in a silo. They weren't on an island all by themselves.
That's
They
right.
had community. They had mothers, brothers, sisters, neighbors, cousins.
Yep.
In the Caribbean, you'll have, in the morning, somebody's coming over because they made extra roti. And in the afternoon, someone's, going to help you out to wash some clothes for an hour. And then they're gone. And then someone else is coming to help you sweep. So people learn to live in a community. So that they weren't living by themselves, and I feel like we are in a society where you are pushed to the point of actually believing that you are an island by yourself and you have to do it, but you don't. If you've got brothers and uncles, then send your children there. You allow them to be raised by your brothers and uncles and your grandparents, whatever. You got to use them, because that's what they're there for. That's why we talk about a community raising a child. It takes a village, a community to raise a child. You can't do it by yourself. I couldn't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself.
No.
How many times it's like, oh, you want to take them for the, okay, please be my guest. This is the mentality we need to, and this is why it's important. Israel is important because it's a community, and it's a community with culture.
Yeah.
Right. So
Um,
okay, I'm going to read something, but
Yes.
let's say,
Let's read.
I said, but no,
what
can I?
okay, if you're gonna say, you're gonna say.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll try and keep it. I'll try and keep it because McKinney, you touched a nerve
Yeah.
here
Just-
because like all
right,
everybody wants to
please,
kind of jump
yeah.
in and say something. Even after what you said, I wanted to say something. But just to go backtrack to what McKinney was saying about being everything and being in a situation where your partner is not reliable to be that person, and so you're forced to be this strong person. And I go back to slavery, 400 years. We don't understand what that has done to us. Where the woman was then taken to train their children. They're meant to be weak and compliant because the man was the threat, right? They had to break the man, right? They're meant to be weak. They were tired of breaking themselves, so let the woman do it. And the woman to be strong because now she has to breed and give away and all these different, she has to be mentally strong, and the man to be mentally weak. That has come up with us. And then we go into the 60s and the 70s and the whole minority hiring, minority hiring, the equal opportunity hiring. You have a man, okay, he's black, okay, that's one. Now you have a woman, she's black and she's a woman. And then the whole, I mean, there's more history obviously too, and there's more things that kind of elevated and perpetuated the situation that we're in, to the point where the woman, even me, I was a single mom before I met my husband. And when I got married and I was starting a family with my husband, it was like I was doing everything myself. I was bringing the groceries. I was cooking the food. I was making and he's just like, I want to let me put me to, and it was like this to understand that, hey, wait a second, I'm not by myself. I have a husband. I have a help. I have, you know what I mean? So even to come from that, and it'll take a lot from us to know ourselves to get to the point where, okay, we realize something is wrong. We can't do it on our own. We're not an island by ourselves, and take that help. Even when it comes to having someone take care of your children, that, I don't know if anyone's with me, but that guilt that you'd feel like, oh my gosh, that they have to be burdened by my child, they have to take care of my child. To know that, let's talk about the naming, but our children are the nation's children, right?
That's right.
Question.
Right? We didn't name it. They're named and owned by the nation. What nation's children?
Nation's children.
Nation's children.
Not nation's
As
children.
in, we all
Absolutely.
raise our children. We all are responsible. We all help guide. We are our village.
Yeah.
Right. So even then, now I'm still getting over that to understand that we are all together. Right.
We are together. Exactly.
We are the village.
It's a very tough one.
And there's some triggers in there.
And
There's a lot of triggers.
There's some triggers in there because
Mhm.
as Rachel is speaking, what I'm thinking is
Mm.
all our issues that we have, we bring up children, we bring up helping with groceries, we're bringing up all these things. It was never the man's fault. It wasn't even, it was never their job.
Help me. Yeah.
It really was never, if we look culturally, we're talking culturally, like when I grew up with my grandmother, my grandfather, that was not something that my grandfather did. It was not even a thought. My grandfather was the provider.
Mhm.
That was his job, to make sure my grandmother was okay. That was also the same job as everyone that we see scripturally. And we were provided for, meaning we had handmaids. So we didn't have to go through all these things by ourselves. But I think
one of our biggest issues is those issues today we place upon the man. So now we think, remove them, period. We don't need them because we could do it ourselves. No, find a different way of getting help. Maybe we lean on each other, but if we start looking at things for what it is and just be real and look at yourself and be accountable to say, maybe I need to stop saying that. I need to stop saying that it's your fault that I'm outside with all the groceries and whatever, because I think in this time that we live in, is just they're trying to help, but they also need help, but it's also not their natural role. It is our natural role. We could take on 20 million things because scripturally, that's what we do. We take on 20 million things. All our foremothers, that's what they did, but they were never at the forefront. The God of Israel just picks a few that he could use to say, hey, I need some spiritual help here because we are spiritually receptive. So we need some extra spirituality here. So let me call in one of the women. And sometimes that's what it is. But we have to look at the roles today and say, is it a man's role?
Okay, okay.
Proverbs 30.
Oh,
Hi, peace, everyone. So
Peace.
I'm loving the discussion, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening. Elder Sophie, you've been talking about the role of the man and the woman in the household, and I'm thinking of today. How the man has been dumbed down and
yes.
everything.
Yeah.
And a part of it is because they don't know really who they are and what their role is. How do we now, in today's time, get our men to get back into their role? How do we educate them so that they can be the man that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob created them to be in his family, in his household? How do we get back to that?
I think that question may have to be addressed at another time because it is a bigger question. It's a huge question. I mean, right now, ultimately, based on what Elder Sophie just mentioned as well, is that we really need to understand ourselves.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do as an individual? Because you can only teach somebody else what to do when you know what you need to have happen to you yourself, right? Because nobody's going to come along and say, well, no, you should do this. Or they might. There's a problem there. But you have to know you. And that's the most important thing. But then, with the men and teaching your boys and teaching your children, I mean, that's a whole realm. I mean, we could get into that. But I don't think we have enough time to really do a deep dive. But it is a very valid point, Sorry? The men will do a sequel on that. The men will do a sequel. Interesting.
Which is good because I think
Yes.
we are not men.
Mhm.
So, and that's part of the problem. We're telling them what they should be doing, but that is not even a role.
But at the same
It really
time,
isn't
it
to tell
isn't.
them what they should be doing. And sometimes that's why we become the dominant one.
But then at the same time, you also have to teach people how to treat you. So people need to know how to treat you, right? And that's all part of what do you do as a man? How do you behave as a man? So it's very important. Anyways, but
Proverbs 30.
I want to go into this scripture because there's actually two parts to this question. And this scripture kind of covers both. The second one was, what is the strength of femininity, past, present, and future, when it comes to an Israelite woman? So this, going back to what Sean said earlier, we talk about the dominance of the male, the masculine. They call it the masculine divine, anyways. And this is what a lot of women are bringing out there and getting confused. And then, of course, there are those that's running to the femininity and then getting lost there as well. But let's read about an Israelite woman. Let's read about a real Israelite woman. Okay, so we can find this in Proverbs 31. And I know all of you knew that we were going to go there, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go to Proverbs 31. And we're going to start from verse 10. Okay. It says here, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. This is something we talk about for the little girls, for our children, helping them to understand themselves. So already the scene is being set. A virtuous woman, her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. So it's like I don't have to worry because I know she's going to
Right.
do right by me.
Exactly.
I know she's going to go out there, she's going to do her thing, and she's going to be back, and that's my woman, right? So there's.
Can I hold on? So Officer Charmaine, just a moment before we move on, right? We're verse 11, where it says, "The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil." And going back to McKinney's question, and I know Pansy alluded to something there, in this, it's telling you that the woman ought to respect the man. This is what this verse is actually showing me, that when you begin to respect the man, right, he will hold your heart safely. It means that he will care for you and provide for you. So if it was never the intention for the woman to be out there working outside the house. It was never the intention. And we know that history destroyed a lot of it, and the opposition wanted to destroy the family, period. We know that part, period. Destroy the family, so destroy it any way that you want. But if you remove the respect, the destruction occurs. But if you maintain the respect, the household remains steadfast spiritually. So this is something that's very deep in verse 11, that the husband holds safely her heart. And if she respects him, he keeps that heart always.
Yeah, it's a two-way, it's definitely a two-way
Exactly.
situation. Yes.
And another point also is, I know we started at verse 10, but if you go back to verse 1 to 3, it's the mother talking to her son about what type of women to look for.
Yeah, there you go.
That's as important. So if you read from verse 1,
Yes,
the words of
that's a
King
very good point.
Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. So
Okay,
as women, again, go ahead.
Back.
See, now
Sorry.
we're
Sorry. No, honestly though.
go ahead.
No, honestly, when you hear people talk about, oh,
Virtuous
you
women.
should not teach, you should not do this, you know, a woman shouldn't teach a man. Okay, keep reading.
Right. So she's telling him these are qualities. So when we read Proverbs 31, these are qualities that you need to find in the woman. This is the type of woman that you need to get. So she will bring you up and not pluck you down. So it goes, what, my son, and what, the son of my womb. So again, it's a mother. The best for you, want the best for your child. This is an Israelite mom. You want the best for your child. So don't go out there and find a girl like this. Don't go out there and find the boy like this. Is what you need to find. So she's letting him know what he needs to find. The son of my vows, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways.
Sorry, did you read too?
Yes.
Oh,
You gotta read it over.
yes.
What my son.
Listen. Okay.
Well, maybe you should start there then.
Oh, because you did it. I just look at that. Okay. So what,
My son.
my son, and what, the son of my womb,
Yes.
and the son of my vows. I just want
That's
that
it.
womb part is just really.
And verse 3 says, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. So again, it's give not your strength. It means again that she can't become the strength of the home. Like really, she cannot, because then he won't be king. It will be a role reversal. So that's what he's telling. You can't reverse that in your home. You got to run your home. And this is the type of woman that if there is something going on, even in the home, she's not taking it to the streets. In the streets, she's building you up. In the streets, she's doing all these things. It's the type of woman that we need to become.
And even in this verse, this is not where we wanted to go, but it's got so much there.
It does.
Even in this verse, it takes a woman to tell a man about another woman. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yep.
You know, we have,
That's
what's
deep.
it? Samson, the strongest man, he can take out anybody, but he was deceived by a woman. Okay, he was deceived by a woman.
Didn't listen, Esther.
Solomon, the wisest king, wise, wisdom beyond, but he could never find the secret of a woman. It takes another woman to explain to a man about another woman. So, and I know this is a tough thing, and like I said, we weren't really going to go there today, but when you think about your sons and raising sons, that's why we talk to the children and tell them, you know what, maybe this and maybe that, maybe you should consider, because we know, and we can't even tell you how we know, but we do. Anyways, number 12,
Yes,
right?
verse 12, yes.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So he's talking about the same virtuous woman. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. So this is not a woman that's just like drinking matcha all day. I mean, it's nice, but she's working, okay? She's like the merchant ship and bringeth her food from afar. Again, very industrious, she does things. She's not just sitting around. She riseth also while it is yet night. So and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. So she's there. She's not just idle.
Yep.
This
She's not.
woman is industrious. Look at her mind. It's constantly going from before the sun is up. She's up preparing for her household. This is a woman. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a woman. This is something to take pride in. It's not something to be, oh my goodness, oh. This is something to take pride in, right?
Yes.
She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruits of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. She perceiveth that merchant is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. So she is constantly going,
And building.
constantly going, constantly building.
So then, Officer Charmaine,
Yes.
debunks the modern construct
It
that
does.
It
It does.
the
It
modern
does.
theory
It
that
does.
says that the woman is goal oriented, she's resilient, she's assertive, she's confident. But as I had mentioned, then when we dive into the scripture, you'll see that we were already those
Right.
things that they're now trying to separate. But once again, they always try to separate us from who we are to be who we are not and want to give us something else. So here we are. The proof is in the pudding. It's right here that we were already these things. Not what they're saying. We already existed like that.
Right. And again, this is showing, and for me, I will always emphasize this. This is showing you how to be a woman. Like I said, even when it says she goes and she buys things, I mean, now if we get our own houses, we do this, we do that, like there is no need. But in this, she has a husband. And also this is about a wife. This is about a wife. Like there's so many things that today we say, oh my gosh, it's like we're totally remove men, but it really has nothing to do with their role. Everything is to do with our role, but we're focused. The focus of us has shifted. That if we're doing these things, and the same things we're doing right now, then, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this by myself. The issue is right here, the husband trusted in her because he knows what he was doing was good. She knows so it was like this. It was a marriage. That is a complete marriage. The trust on both sides. I don't have to worry about anything because you know what? I know what my wife is up to. She's not bringing me down. She's making sure, hey, I am married. He's at the nation. He's doing what he's supposed to do for the God of Israel. And I think sometimes that's what it's about. We're shifting. Oh no.
Speak of husbands.
Speak of husbands.
Ask a question.
Whoa.
Carol and Karen and all of them was like, hey man, we want you to go up there and speak. And they were all pushing me up here. They're like, all the men are so quiet. Get up there and speak.
Wow.
So I'll say this. I'll say the discussion is great. Couple of things that I don't know if I'm hearing clearly.
Okay.
So I hear the construct of what's out there.
Yes.
But that's general, right? So if you say women, that could put under the umbrella all women around the world. If you say men, that puts all men from the world under that umbrella. But just like the Egyptians said, that the Hebrew women are lively. So when we say women, let's be really clear that your message is to Israelite women. And Israelite women has always been different
Right.
Yes.
than other women.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. Number two, the chapter you guys are reading, which I love very much, okay, is a mother doing a mother's job. So it's not really about a woman teaching a man, because
Right.
women
Right.
naturally are mothers to their daughters or their sons, naturally. And this is guidance to a king of Israel,
Yes.
not just general man or woman. This is again all in the house, all in the family. A mother telling the king, if you're going to go out and find women, if you are, you got to find one that's a virtuous woman. That's the message, right? You got to find one that's a virtuous, because the scripture says the whole duty of man is to do what?
Serve.
The whole duty of man is to serve God.
Keep
So
his command.
therefore, if the whole duty of man is to serve God, you got to find a woman that helps you to do that. You get me?
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Woman to help you to do that. So the issues that we've had, and you guys brought it up, the issues that we've had is not understanding that dynamic, that role. If everything to help me, you guys mentioned help me, okay? It's to help the man do the job that he has to do, which is to serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. If and yes, there is value. No, but there is value. There is value in understanding both roles,
Yes.
because both roles actually help in that whole process.
Yes.
It's not a man versus woman. It's not women have taught men and done this. It's how do we balance that and understand that what's truly important, which is how do we serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob better? And how do I help my husband do that better? Because what we have found throughout history is that the men could be pulled away.
Yes.
Let's talk real talk. Let's talk real talk. The men oftentimes are pulled away. So we got to reverse that now and say, instead of how do we train our husbands, is how do I support the husband in serving the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Because when he does that, all of us are blessed.
Amen.
Yep.
Oh, thank you so much, Elder Andor. That was very good. Thank you very much. Just showing exactly the role of an Israelite woman and being very clear that, yes, we are speaking about the Israelite woman. And as mentioned before, this is where we get an Israelite femininity.
Are you going to continue?
There we are.
Should I?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Where were we?
18.
18? Okay, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth out, not out by night. She layeth her hand to the spindle, and her hand hold distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hand to the needy. So this woman, she is very conscientious of all those that are around her. You know, she's not just idle, vain, just sitting there, just, taking care of herself. She's looking out to others within the community to see if they can, if they need help. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet.
Israel. Painted Israel.
Yeah.
The house is painted Israel.
But it goes even further. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple.
Nice.
So look, it's, this is, her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So this is a really excellent synergy. It's like, yeah, you a good woman,
Yes.
and a good man. And then a typical example, you got Elder Andor, a good man, and you've got Elder Sophie, a good woman, good Israelite woman, good Israelite man. And this is a beautiful example, because, and I hope you don't mind put
Go
your
ahead.
business out there like that.
No, go ahead.
But she knows the duty of her husband.
Yes.
And so she works accordingly to make sure that he does his duty.
Yes.
Right? And she does it very well.
Yes. Thank you.
No, she does very well. So
25.
she,
20.
okay.
Okay.
She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
So
This is all very good, and you know, I really do appreciate what you said,
I want
Elder
to just-
Esther. Sorry, go ahead.
Go back to this verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is a law of kindness. So when
Yes.
she speaks, she's not speaking from emotion. She's not going off of her feelings in that moment.
No.
She's wise about her words and her conduct, and knowing that she wants the person that she's speaking with to understand, right? To move forward.
Yes.
The law of kindness. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, it absolutely, and I'm going back to what Elder Ender says, and I'm glad you pointed that out. It's like, my son, this is the kind of woman that you're looking for. You're looking for a virtuous Israelite woman who is industrious, who is wise, who doesn't speak ugly things. You know, this is the woman that you are looking for. So again,
Not let her
very good.
emotions govern
Not
her.
letting your
Yeah,
emotions govern you. You know,
Mhm.
doing what you need to do in order to make your household run the way it's supposed to. Her children rise up and call her blessed. This is so
That's a
very
great
good.
compliment.
Yes. Yeah. Imagine, especially this day and age. Her husband also, and he praises her. So again, it's like this is a two-way. This is a team, right? This is teamwork. This is an Israelite man working with an Israelite woman together. You know, beautiful. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excelleth them all.
Amen.
Favor is deceit, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, and there we have it.
Yep.
A woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Selah
And
and Selah. Amen. This is, wow.
That's good.
To me, this is a virtuous woman. This is what you call femininity. This is what you call a woman that's industrious, not, you know, fighting to be the CEO and it's like, oh, I gotta do this. No, this is there is a goal. There is an ultimate goal. Elder Andrew said it, and that is to worship the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
And to help your husband to do so.
yes,
Help your husband to do so.
it's true.
Absolutely.
Because last week I did speak about an anchor. If you're in the Israelite nation, and I always say this, it is the best place to be on earth. I enjoy being an Israelite wife. I enjoy being an Israelite woman. I enjoy being an Israelite mother. Most of all, I enjoy serving the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Amen.
That is truly my focus in the nation. That is truly my focus. That is my husband's focus. So because he's so focused on it, the house is run that way. So I don't have any other focus in my life. It is the house, it's built upon this. And when your husband, and again, it's what they do in the house that sets the stage for how you are as a woman also. And truly it's the groundwork was already set. Okay, you're going to be my wife. If you're going to be my wife, this is the type of wife I need. Focus is the God of Israel. When it's not the God of Israel, see the door. It's as straight as that. If the focus is not the God of Israel, see the door, because you need a man that's focused like that. You don't need any wishy-washy husband. I am so serious, especially being an Israelite woman, because we come naturally with this. This is what we're gifted with. This is the gift that the God of Israel has given to us, that in any situation we will rise. Any situation we will rise. So just imagine if we also do the same thing with her husband, and we both have the same focus. But he is who he is. We're not there in the gates with him. We're not there when he's sitting with the elders. We're making sure the home and everything is good. I tell my husband all the time, when it comes to spirituality, I don't even get involved. That is your domain. I don't even try to tell you what to do in regards to that. You're at the nation. There's nothing in my mind to say, oh, I wonder where he is. The trust is built. The trust is built there. It's not that you see me and I'm here and I'm this way. No, I understand that I have to help. I truly understand that I have to help. If he can't be somewhere, then I have to be there.
Mhm.
That is what it is. It's the focus at all times. That it's your anchor. It's everything. Right here is your everything. You already have the manual for how to live your life. When this is not happening, that's why it's so easy for us to lead them astray. We are gifted with so many things. The God of Israel has gifted us with so many things that if the husband is not careful, yes, we can sweep them away. We're built differently. We are not a man. They're built differently. They're built for whatever they have to do. We are built for the way that we have to be. But if they're not doing their job, naturally what happens with us?
Mhm.
We take on.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a fight. Every day it becomes a fight, but stay in our lane.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But when we say all the women before us that's been in the nation has led their husband away, they have, because they're not leading their husband to the God of Israel. They've actually led them away from the God of Israel.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of what it is. Your job was to be here to teach, to help us on this path of truth. And what you have done is an injustice to the God of Israel.
And
That is what us as women have done. If we lead them astray, there's a reason there's only one door in the Israelite nation. There's a reason there's no confusion in the Israelite nation. You're not getting baptized here. You're not getting baptized there. You're not using this manual, not using that manual. The God of Israel is the same manual from the days of old. It's the same manual. If we don't follow this, we're going to be let out. So the husband has to become that strength. He has to become stronger than us. We are naturally strong. But I'm telling you, if you're not careful about the women that you pick, you're gone. That is your focus. If you can't focus and ride with me, with the God of Israel, then ride out. But you're riding out alone. That's what it is.
And even to that, Elder Sophie, I mean, you make such a great point, because this is not fluff. This is coming from experience. This is coming from life, right? So it's not something that you're making up or theorizing or what have you. This is actually life. But that also applies to the children, you know, because again, you're the mother, and this example is of a mother speaking to her son, and this is her guiding him through life. You know, this is what you are expecting. And she's guiding him to look for the right kind of woman, the right kind of woman, a woman that, what does it say there? Not fear the Lord. This is the woman she wants for her son. I want a son that fears the Lord. Even when you looked at, you know, Rebecca and Sarah, it's like, don't take my son to anybody.
Yes.
You know, don't just pick up any woman for my son. I want a woman that fears the Lord.
Yes.
She's going to keep him grounded. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a good woman. I'm good. I'm comfortable. You know, I could go to sleep at night and know that he's going to do his job, because this is the kind of woman that she wants for her son.
And we also see where the opposite of that, the consequences of the disobedience, when despite the teachings of the mother to her family, her children, to say, walk in the way of the Lord and choose these women. Do not choose the women from over there. Choose these women from within your own nation. We see that example with Samson. And I love the story of Samson and what he represents, right? Because the mother was so resolute in following instructions, and she taught him well. And she said, do not choose any women over there. But Samson's heart was so robust. He was so excited, and he saw this one lady and he was so captivated by her that he forgot the instructions. And this is what happens to us when we move away from the instructions that are given. And we have our teacher, Elder Shadrach, that every week fervently sits down and teaches us about our culture and gives us instructions. And what happens when people disobey, they go. And we see the results with Samson, that yes, his mother did the same thing as this mother did, teaching her son, but Samson walked away for one moment. He took on that woman, and just like Officer Sharman is saying, she led him away from the God of Israel. It appears that way, though. It appears that she led him away, because at the end of the day, he remembered who he served, who he was, and he could able to say, let me die with the Philistines. It was not that should not have been the plan, but that was the consequences of his actions, which was disobedience. So when we stray and walk away, we teach our children. It is our job to teach, right? It is their responsibility to accept and live in the teachings and the truth of this nation. But the minute they begin to look outside to the left or right, they allow their peripheral vision to stray, then they must face the consequences of those actions.
Yeah.
You can't come.
Yes.
Yes.
You can come home,
Yes.
but there are still consequences to face
Yes.
for the physical things, while your spirituality will now begin to take on a different shape, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, your spirituality and your soul is what's most important. Especially your soul is the most important. But you've got to face the consequences of your actions, and then you begin to grow again. You begin to come home, but you start growing again and stay inside the household. Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so ladies, let's strive for
Right.
balance. Okay.
Questions coming up next.
Another
Okay.
No, this is going to be
I know there's not that many, but they're very, very
Topics.
profound. Each one of them a whole lesson.
Pull yourself for the next question.
We may have to do a part 3. Just look at that. So the next question is, what if an Israelite woman is married to a man who is not Israel? Does he fall under her laws?
Mm. Or vice versa, I guess.
Okay, who's going to go first?
Want me to take us out? I can go. I can go.
Go
I can
ahead.
go first. So we know that in the Israelite home, if the Israelite home is be kept an Israelite home, therefore the laws.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can't hear me? Am I off? Am I on?
Yes.
Okay, I will speak loud. I will speak louder. Yeah, so you know, the Israelite home has be kept as an Israelite home. That is historically in our Bible in Genesis and the Exodus, I believe it even says that we are to that anyone within that home must keep those laws, such commandments, right? The maidservants, everyone, right? But then what do you do then? This is a good question. What do? You now realize, hey, I'm an Israelite. Hey, I've been called. But guess what? You're married. What do you do? Right? How do you move forward? So I know that you're going to go to a couple of verses that kind of describe it. The verse that I like that I go to is 1 Corinthians 7.
Yes.
We can start from. I want to go through the whole thing. Okay. So basically, the scripture talks about why it's good to have a wife.
1 Corinthians 7 verse. Where are we going from?
Let's go from 12. I should write it down. I wrote it down. Let's go from 12. But to the rest speak I. He's saying, he's doing a disclaimer here. It's like me. This is Paul's advice, okay? Not the Lord, Paul's advice. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. So this is Paul's opinion as to what to do when you're with someone who is unbelieving, that they're Israel or whether they are Israel. But also to understand that even if they're unbelieving, that household still needs to be an Israelite home. So therefore, that husband or that wife must still honor the laws, and like if the children need to do something, the children are raised as the Israelite children. Yeah.
Okay.
You can.
Right. Okay.
This is a hot topic.
It is a hot.
It's a hot
It's a
topic.
very.
This one comes with a lot of emotions.
Mm.
And I believe that as Israelite women, we also have to be honest with self. And is what can you deal with?
True. Yep.
You have to ask yourself that, okay, I come into the nation and, oh my gosh, first of all, it says you can't be. A house divided cannot stand. My house is already divided. So those are the questions going through my mind. My house is already divided. What can I do? So again, is sometimes you got to overcompensate as an Israelite. You got to make sure, like, okay, if I know I maybe, it starts at, and this is how my mind works. If I know, okay, in the afternoon session starts at 2 o'clock because I'm trying to make a point to whoever is living with me in my home, I'm maybe going to be leaving half hour early. Just, I have to overcompensate with things so they get the point. If you want to be with me, there's going to be a lot of no's. And sometimes when there's a lot of no's not conforming to things, then either the other person changes or there is a divide. But
Yeah.
so I cannot go and tell. I just know what the scripture says: a house divided cannot stand. But again, it's you that's going through this. Is your path. It's your walk in life. Who's going to take you over? Like, who's going to be at the finish line with you? And if you believe that it's all based upon love and cuddly things and warm and all that, at the end of the day, it's my soul. They're not even with me. At the end of the day, this person who I am sacrificing, because again, that's what it is. It's a sacrifice of self. So it's based upon you. I just know me. And for me, I could say, because I can't be like this. My mind is not set like that. So for me, it's I'm planning daily.
And I feel like
It's a hard one.
okay, let's see. Okay, now you got to put this in perspective. There are two sides, as I listen to what's being said, two sides to look at. So you're coming, both of you are non-Israelites.
Yes.
Let's go there first. Even though the question is specific, let's go there. Both of you are non-Israelites. One has adapted and is now part of Israel, gone through everything, is an Israelite. Do you take on the Ruth and Naomi mentality? Or do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? Right? Meaning, because I'm now Israel and I understand, do I take it just for myself? Or do I live that life so that the spouse who was also non-Israel can see what is happening and now be encouraged to say, hey, what is that? Why do you do that? And begin to ask questions. Is now your response, come. Let me show you. Come. I'm inviting you. Come. Or the other scenario where you are already Israel and you deliberately want to go with somebody who is non-Israel, who you're going to make chaos in your home, chaos in your life. Somebody's going to challenge you every step of the way because the opposition is happy that you have now stepped over there instead of following the instructions that we just spoke about to stay within and choose from within. We know not all Israel is Israel. We know that.
Yes.
We know that. But let's deal with the instructions. The instructions, stay within.
Yes.
Find someone within. So even if I'm Israelite, I wouldn't want to really purposefully go look for somebody who's non-Israel to go try and convince them. You can agree or disagree, but you out there in cyberland, you have to make that choice for yourself as well.
Yep.
Where I am, do I want to take on that
Burden.
and burden
Yes.
of I'm already trying to live as a Christian.
That's it.
It's good enough.
To follow the law,
Yeah.
the statutes, the commandments. I'm trying to get the day off so I can be here on new moon. Now, do I want to have an additional responsibility of dealing with all that negation?
Yep.
No, God forbid. No, I rather stay on this side and be by myself and continue to serve. But if the household was none, and one becomes, then there is a different level of responsibility where you try to live that lifestyle so the other will see the Christ in us and want to say, who is it that you're serving? And through you're serving, I want to get over there too. So that's why I said there's two sides I want to look at, although the question was very specific.
And I like that because
I have a
yeah,
point to that. Very
You
good.
speak, you speak.
You have something.
no, I was just gonna kind of mirror what you were saying because like even Paul, he was speaking specifically to, hey, you're already married, you now are believing. How do you deal with it? Don't put them away. Be that example as but you to Elder Sophie's point, you want to go for someone that is aligned with you, who you guys can partner with. You don't want to go out and choose that struggle, knowing that the struggle already exists, knowing that the temptation already exists, knowing that the other side is already coming at you in the first place. Why put yourself in that position where you could stumble? Or you could fall.
So I'm going to take this from a completely different perspective.
Okay.
I do respect it and I do understand, and you make excellent points. The reason I'm going to look at it from a different perspective is because that was my experience.
Mm.
My experience was I've met somebody outside of Israel. So it wasn't somebody that was here, but it was somebody that was outside. So my husband, he listened to me. I told him, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't go here, don't do that, I don't like this, I don't want that.
You have
He
to.
learned
It's
about
true.
all the things,
Yes, the do's and the don'ts.
and he still said yes. So, so you know, you know. So I'm not saying, go out. I'm just saying that you have to know who you are
Yes.
and what you want out of life. Okay, and you've got to put those little
You have to.
barriers in place. You got to
You
put
have
those
to.
rules, whatever it is.
Yep.
You got to let them know right from the get-go, this is who I am. I am an Israelite woman, and this is my expectation. This is my culture. This is my way of life. This is how we do things. And from there,
True.
And with that,
and this is what almost.
how many years now?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
You guys just left me up here. I appreciate the warm welcome. So I'm not sure if you're. I gotta see a table. I'm not sure if you guys are getting into the cultural aspect.
okay.
So this is me throwing
Oh,
a ball to you
here we go.
because I think the question is a very generic question, but I think it gives us an opportunity to talk about the culture of our people when they're young. The girl who is a virgin, right? Because they've gone to Paul. You've gone to Paul,
Yep.
letters to the
Corinthians,
people
yeah.
at Corinthians
Corinthians.
about what they should be doing and what not. But the Israelite culture is what we teach here.
True.
So, from how do they get married? What do we look for? Is there dowry? Because that was how things were set up to avoid what you just went through and
Yeah.
the question you're going through.
Yeah.
Because we never looked outside of Israel. Our women never dealt with uncircumcised men. It's only in today's day and age that we find ourselves in that trouble. But I think it gives you guys an opportunity to actually talk about the culture. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, absolutely.
So for me, I'm always. Sometimes you just don't want to break free, and that's what it is. You don't want to just break free, and say all the things that's on your mind. But
Yes.
really and truly, the Israelite culture is. When you talk about marriage and when you talk about, from the virgin stage and from Abraham had to go back and find Rebecca, and it's not just any woman. Like I always tell the women in the young girls in the Israelite nation, that's why I love DOZ, because I think DOZ takes them back to remove the world and just focus on self. Focus on the God of Israel. Focus on internal. Stop going external. So we start them from, hey, when you're a young lady, when you turn this age, you know what I mean, you become a young woman. These are things that we have to do. Then we bring all the elders together, and then we speak to them, and then we tell them about, hey, these are things that you're going to be learning later on, but these are things that you have to focus on right now, but we keep our virgins together. Like we make sure, because this world is ready to eat them up.
Right.
This
Yeah,
world is
absolutely.
ready to take them away from us. So what we have to do is everything culturally, even when you read it, I mean, Jacob had to work 14 years because the Israelite woman is so different. They're so unique. It's work that you put in to get one of them. It is a lot of work because we're training them, and I'm telling you, to be this Proverbs 31. That is it. You gotta start from young. This is where your focus should be. This is what this is what should be done. This is, every time your children comes into your house with something, that you always have to remind them about Israel, 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 and what a marriage is an Israelite nation. You got to tell them about, what I mean, outside they would always say, I want my father to walk me down the aisle. I can't wait for the white dress. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. And or they can't wait for the rings. But I'm telling you, my focus is never on rings. My focus is like, oh my gosh, when Rebecca, Abraham sent bracelets. So when, so she knew he was serious about this marriage. I'm bringing you back home because I want you to marry my son. And he didn't go all over the world. He knew the kind of woman that he wanted. So he went back to the house that he knew. Take a woman from this people, and she will come, because she probably was raised to understanding what the culture is in the Israelite nation. And I'm saying in the Israelite nation now, but again, in Israel, period. And I think we don't focus too much on what our cultures, but our young girls, they know from birth,
But
this is how you need to be.
it just goes to the whole message right from the very beginning that our spirituality is our culture and our culture is our spirituality.
Yes.
Which essentially means that we do the things that we do to protect ourselves, to protect our spirituality. That's why our culture is so important, right? That's why we keep, the laws of separation. That's why we don't eat certain foods. That's why we dress a certain way. That's why, we keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We keep the Sabbath day. We keep the new moons. There's no negotiation. We keep the Passover. We keep Feast of Unleavened Bread and Feast of Tabernacles. This is what we do for our spirituality. So that's why our culture, thank you again, Elder Andor, why it is so important, and why it is important for each individual, especially in the Israelite nation, to know the culture, because the culture will protect you. It will protect you spiritually, right? It will protect you. And this is what we have to. We can't deviate. When we start to compromise, our culture, when we start, oh, I'm not going to do this, or I can't do that. When we start to do that, then we are harming ourselves. We are opening up ourselves to spiritual attacks, to spiritual misalignments. We are opening up ourselves to damage. And so that's why we keep our culture. That's why we cover our heads.
Yes.
Right?
Part of our culture.
This is part of our culture. It's actually written. We do this because we understand that as part of our culture, in order to teach, we have to cover our heads.
Yeah.
This is what we do. And we do this with pride because nobody else is going to care. We have to care, and this is, the whole cultural aspect, we can go into it so much more because a lot of it, I'm just really quickly.
Well, it's going to be a series.
Yeah, but just one. So, okay. All right. So I'm gonna hear, what do you have to say?
No, I was just kind of overall with what Elder Anna said, what Elder Sophie said, and how culture was important in choosing a husband, choosing a wife, and being a woman, and how the power that we have upholds. And with Proverbs 31, it reminded me of when Isaac's wife was chosen, and the humility that the Proverbs 31 showed, and even the sign in which the servant asked the God of Israel for that woman to show him, which was, when I asked for drink,
Yes.
feed me.
Yes.
So let down the pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. to show even here, before Proverbs is down here, even here in Genesis, how that blueprint of a woman is searched out, and and that's the type of woman that we at the Israelite nation are trying to raise within our children. How why we keep the DOZ, Daughters of Zion, together, why we have our certain cultural things that we do with our women and with our women and with our young girls and with our young men as well, to raise the Israelite man and the Israelite woman to be together so they can look within and find that spouse.
Thank you very much. Ladies, thank you very much. You did a fantastic job today. It's there's so much more, and
Yes,
you
I
know, your
wanted to
experience
say-
added so much to this discussion. I really appreciate it. I thank you all for your questions, and even you online, thank you very much for being with us today. And like I said before, if you do have any questions, please put them in the comment section. And you know, we will have a part 3, not next week. Okay. But we will have a part 3. Okay. So
Can I say one thing
so
before
thank
we
you so
close?
much. Okay, just one
Just one last thing before we close, because I think this is a very important point to make for especially those of you out there in Cyberland who are tuning in on a weekly basis, and a lot of you out there who look towards Paul as your gospel with what you believe. When you read Paul, you must understand that you need to know who Paul is talking to and why he's speaking to that person. So in cases where a lot of you out there are saying that, oh no, you should be teaching. No, we are Israel. Israel teaches, Israel instructs. Paul was talking to a set of people who were being disobedient, and he's saying that because these women were making so much noise, he says, hey, I just want you to be silent for a moment. You're making a lot of disruptions here, because he was not in Israel teaching. He was over somewhere else in Corinth or wherever. So he was speaking to them. He was not talking to me. My, he was not talking to me. Just wanted to put that out there, because I know some of you will throw your questions in the chat and you'll come back and say, Paul said. But remember who Paul was speaking to and the context in which Paul was speaking. He wasn't talking to Israel. Remember, Israel teaches.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
There, I would leave it there.
We have, it's so funny because the next section is actually based on Paul's teaching. But
The other question.
we have to wait. We have to wait for another
Here's
time
my
for that.
question.
So,
Okay.
so thank you once again. Part
Okay.
3. Yes, part 3 will be coming.
Israel teaches.
Listen, but it
Have a
teach.
wonderful day. Peace.
Peace.
Is it over? This is like a hot topic.
It is so hot. Please.
Oh my gosh.
Put that light on. It's so shiny.
Yes.
It's my neck. At the top.
I can